Hey folks, it's Faz from Fazlifts, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about why tracking rest periods between sets is a great idea. So join me as I explain why there is value in tracking rest periods. Before we get into that, do make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you are already subscribed, and if you are interested in coaching, there's a link in the description. So I think firstly, if we start the discussion with possible reasons why you shouldn't track rest periods, and I think these reasons can generally be boiled down to just going when you're ready. Okay, just relying on your own biofeedback when your body tells you to go, and just go when you're ready. Mike Israetel goes a little bit further, and he has this 4-factor formula that he uses: cardiovascular strength, neural strength, synergists, and also whether you can do at least 5 reps. That's fine as well, but again, it's also just an extension of relying on your biofeedback and just going when you're ready. Basically just going with feel, going how you feel, which I find really odd, because for most things in training, we're not really told to rely on feel. We're told to systematize and track and try and progress in a systematic way. But rest period seems to be the only one which is the exception, and it's okay, just rely on your biofeedback. It's an unusual hill to die on for the evidence-based bros. They track almost everything else, and there's a great deal of importance in tracking sets, reps, even effort levels like RIR and RPE. But when it comes to rest periods, that's the hill they're going to die on, which I find to be quite amusing. And I'm going to explain in this video a few reasons why actually tracking rest periods may have some potential benefits. I personally track all my rest periods, and part of this video is going to be explained to you some of the benefits that I get from tracking my rest periods. First of all, I think the major benefit for me is in terms of workout flow. Tracking my rest periods allows me to have a more productive workout because I'm more able to enter into this flow state where I just go. Do a set, log it on my app, timer starts automatically, and then I rest, and then I go. Do a set, tick it off, go. Do a set, tick it off, go. And the entire workout then has this sort of rhythmic beat to it, almost like the beat of a drum, where I'm just resting and going, and resting and going, and resting and going. There's no delays which might seep into my brain. There's no delays which might be caused by thoughts seeping into my brain, me staring off into the distance, or perhaps by me not really respecting my body's need for a consistent amount of rest. So tracking my rest periods really allows me to get into this sort of rhythm of the workout, which I personally find to be very helpful when trying to do the amount of work that I need to do during the course of a session. I need to get through quite a lot of volume during the course of a session, and it's tough. It's tough work. The type of training that I do, it's difficult. A lot of sets per workout, a lot of sets to failure, and it's very, very difficult. So tracking my rest periods and consistently going on the sort of beat of the drum, like the heartbeat of the workout, allows me to just keep going over and over and over. I don't ever stop too long and I get out of this flow state, because when you're in a flow state, things feel easier. When you're in this mindset where you're just solely focused, almost in a sort of meditative way, it allows things to feel easier. My workout feels easier because I track my rest periods, because I just delve into this like meditative type state where I'm just go bang, 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 bang. I don't let my own thoughts get in my way. I just get into this amazing rhythm where honestly, from start to finish, time just flies by like this. And that's one of the main advantages for me to track rest periods, because I've found when I don't track my rest periods, I'll either go too soon, and so the next set will be ruined. And if I have to think about all these things, like the 4-factor formula is my cardiovascular, my neural, synergist, 5 reps, I don't have time for that during the course of workout. And during the course of workout, I'm emotionally charged when I'm working out because I want to be there. I've got my music playing. I'm pumped. I don't necessarily want to sit and evaluate, is my neurological strength back to normal? I don't need that. I want to outsource that information. I want to just go when I'm told to go. I don't want to be thinking about all those things. And conversely, sometimes I end up thinking too long. I just end up sitting there thinking about things. Some thoughts go through my mind, and before I know it, I've rested for way too long. And that has a knock-on effect because it makes the workout longer and longer. And as well as that, it ruins the flow of the workout, because if I allow my brain to just start to wander, I can get out of this flow state. And all of a sudden, the crushing weight of the workout hits me and I'm like, holy crap, this is hard work. And I get out of that flow state and it all starts to feel a lot harder. So the first and main reason for me why I track my rest periods, it's the heartbeat of the workout. It makes the workout easier because it makes me more focused. It contributes to creating that flow state where I can just bulldozer through a workout and just smash. I don't want anything to upset that rhythm that I'm in when I train. Now, the second reason is that, typically speaking, people lack conditioning. And this is very evident when I'm working with people. People lack conditioning in one of two ways. Either one, they just can't keep up with the workout. I've had people training with me before, and very often they won't be able to keep up. I'm not saying this to big myself up like I'm some kind of machine, but I'm a well-trained guy. I've been training for 25 years, and I do a lot of training. So the first reason why they can't keep up is they just start to barf. They get sick. They can't cope with the repeated exposure to training over and over and over again. They need to break and stop and rest. So their conditioning is terrible. And the second way that the conditioning is terrible is a lot of times their strength drops off massively after, say, 10, 20 minutes of working at my pace. So where the 4-factor formula falls down is the average person just doesn't have the conditioning. And it's something they need to work on. So before they work on their strength development, before they work on any other factors, the 4-factor formula just isn't reliable. It isn't reliable because they don't have very good conditioning. The average guy on the street does not have very good conditioning. The average guy who's more than a few pounds overweight is not going to be able to accomplish a high-level advanced workout because they would need too much rest between sets. And as a result, their work capacity goes down the shitter because they're hardly ever actually working. Like, you're not going to solve that problem by ignoring it and just resting as much as you like. Because what happens when people have poor cardiovascular conditioning and they're trying to push strength, they take longer and longer and longer and longer. So what happens in the end is they have just this enormous amount of time between sets, which they really care about. And then when it comes to the rest of the workout, they get it over and done with in a rush, or they just forget about it, skip it and go home. So in the end, their workout volume and their work capacity gets lower and lower and lower, which is really, really bad for progress. And I've seen guys who would take an hour and a half to do 15 hard sets in a workout, and they aren't even that strong. It's not like they have lots of warm-up to do. Every set just puts them on their arse. That's not good for training progress. You should have a level of conditioning. And if you're promoting not tracking rest periods, you have to understand that quite a lot of your audience are going to use that as an excuse to do very, very low volume and not pace themselves correctly for the duration of the workout. So some of the sets might be hard, the rest might be just way too easy because they're just trying to finish up and get out of the gym. So that's the second reason. Most people lack conditioning. They should be tracking rest periods to allow them to better pace the workout and to allow them to push their conditioning so they actually get better. Because you don't get better at doing more work by doing less work. That never happened to anyone. You get better at doing more work by doing more work. So the 4-factor formula is irrelevant in the face of poor conditioning, which a lot of people have, in my experience. Third point of why you should track your rest periods is that most people are time limited in the gym. People don't have 90 minutes, 2 hours to train in the gym 4, 5, 6 days a week. Mike Israel trains, I think, 12 times per week, like twice a day, 6 days a week. Like, he has plenty of time to relax between sets, get everything ready. But for the majority of us, we don't have that time. Even me, I don't train twice a day. I train 6 days a week. I need to get in and out. So most people lack time in the gym. To get the most out of your gym sessions for hypertrophy, you don't need to be fresh for every set. So you don't need to go when you're ready. Because again, like I said, most people have really poor conditioning. So when they're ready is way past when they should have gone. You need to make sure you're doing good quality sets. You do not need to be completely fresh for that. So having a clock there to remind you to go is a good idea. It will help your conditioning and it will allow you to keep your workouts to a reasonable length. And you don't have to compromise your workout intensity for that. If anything, it will help your workout intensity going back to point one. It will keep you in that heartbeat, that rhythm of the routine. Now, the next reason for why you should track your rest periods is that you can tailor your rest times to different exercises. One of the complaints of why you shouldn't track your rest periods was that different exercises require different rest periods. Well, yeah, obviously. Like, we know that, but that's not a reason. You can aim for different rest periods between your squats than your tricep extensions. No one's saying that you're going to rest the same amount of time for every single set, obviously. So that's not a criticism that is valid at all. It doesn't matter if a squat needs a longer rest period than a bicep curl. You just program that in. Maybe for squats you rest 3 minutes, for curls you rest a minute and a half. Done. But the point is, it's about consistency. The point is, it's about improving work capacity. The point is, it's about getting in this flow state so you're able to just push through your workout. The next reason for why you should track your rest periods is you will adapt. All these things I'm talking about, this lack of conditioning, this lack of flow in the workout, you will adapt. And the idea is you should adapt. Over the course of a lifetime, you should become a more intense, more productive trainee. You should be able to hang with advanced trainees. That's the goal. That's how you do it. You get your work capacity to a point where you are able to do advanced routines. That allows you to build more strength and it allows you to become more advanced and bigger. Part of that is this adaptation that you want as you go along. But you're going to hamstring yourself if you don't actually track your rest periods to a reasonable degree. Because if you are short on work capacity, if you are short on conditioning, if you get distracted at the gym, then you're going to hamstring yourself because the rest periods will act as a sort of a leash. It'll keep you on a leash. It'll make sure you keep going when you don't want to. When you want to rest a bit more, even though it's already been 3 to 5 minutes, it'll make you go. And that's important. You should be going at reasonable times. You should be working on your work capacity as well as everything else. And this is especially true if you have a limited schedule of time. You only have a few hours during the week to work out because you need to make the best use of the time you have. Now, the final reason is the poundage increases are honest. Now, there are way too many examples of people who take longer and longer rest times to accomplish poundage increases. For example, let's say you started off squatting 100 kilos, you added 10 kilos every week, and every week you got your reps, but your depth got higher and higher and higher. You're cheating, right? It's not true progression. So let's take the bench press then. What if every week on the bench press, for your progression, you're resting longer and longer? Why is that different? Why is that considered to be different when it's the same type of inconsistent, dishonest progression? Yet, the weight's going up. Sure it is. You rest longer, you can handle more weight because there's more recovery between sets. So it makes no sense not to track rest periods because people progress dishonestly. They just wait that little bit longer because they know it's all riding on it. They're like, I need that extra rep. God damn it, I need that extra rep. So they rest a little bit longer. They do another circle of the gym, they slap themselves in the head, they get more pre-workout, and they do that set. And by that time, they've taken 5 minutes. So of course, they get an extra rep. Is that honest progression though? Because what happens in my experience is, if you're resting so long between sets that you get almost complete recovery, then usually what happens is the next time you progress in weight, your reps go to shit because you don't actually have the strength necessary to do multiple sets and multiple reps. You're resting so long, you're getting almost complete recovery. It's almost like you're doing your top set of 5 over and over again because you're almost fully recovered between sets. So when you add weight, your reps go to shit. It's very bad for progression. It's not honest progression. We all agree that reducing range of motion to add weight to the bar is bad form, right? Because it's not honest progression. It leads to a stall. But in the same way, I've seen when people don't track their rest periods and they just take longer and longer rest, what happens is it leads to dishonest progression. That usually leads to a plateau shortly afterwards. And I'll share with you a story about this. I had a guy who came to me for coaching, Nick, and he was stuck on a 245 bench. And so I put him on a routine tailored for his goals. And we got up to 240, multiple sets of reps, like 3 or 4 sets of 5 reps. He went up to 245 and he just got destroyed. Those 5 pounds just destroyed him. And I remember thinking to myself, what on earth is going on? So I asked him, and we discussed it. And in the end, it came out that he was resting 5, 6, 7 minutes between sets. And I was like, there it is. There's the answer. So we are going to start with about 4 sets of 4 and 6 reps. And you're going to take a strict 3 minutes rest period between every set. Okay, start with a reasonable weight. So we started with about 220. And I'm happy to report that he has bust past his plateau confidently as well. He's now handling 245 for 4 sets of 6, and he's going to be comfortably going to 250 next. So for him, this was a major issue. He was resting longer and longer and longer, and it wasn't giving him the same stimulus, because the longer you rest, the more recovery you have, the less impactful that set is, because you've rested longer. It's not the same. 4 sets done with 10 minutes rest is not the same as 4 sets done with 1 minute rest with the same weight. It's different. We cannot increase the amount of rest and consider that to be good progression. It's dishonest progression. And for every bit of dishonest progression, whether it's rest periods or whether it's range of motion, you are going to hit a plateau shortly afterwards. Portion of time, but it'll get you through that. You'll be able to add weight because you'll just add more rest, but pretty soon you'll run into a wall and you will plateau. So that's another reason why tracking rest periods is actually a good idea. Right, folks, for those of you who do watch Mike Israetel's content, this was essentially piggybacking off that video because it's an area where I do disagree with him. However, I want to say I like Mike. I respect him a lot. I think he's done very good things for the industry. So this is not a personal jab or anything like that at all. I do this video with the utmost respect. Okay. Right, folks, I'm going to call it there. Let me know your thoughts. I want to know if this video has sparked a few thoughts in your head. Do you completely disagree, or is it something which you would consider? Or is the story about Nick a familiar one? Have you reached that sort of plateau yourself? I'd be interested to know, and I will speak to you in the next one. Peace out.